morning, good morning, good morning to some, or good afternoon to most. How are y'all this lovely morning? I just wanted to get on briefly to speak about the conference call slash discovery hearing that was had this morning pertaining to Megan Pete versus Milagro Elizabeth Cooper. I wanted to go over a few things that was discussed this morning and just give y'all a little bit of insight that missed it and what to expect within the next week or so. So, to start off with, I did want to let y'all know that this conference, the Zoom meeting, was not to be recorded, nor photography, or anybody that breaks those rules would have been held in contempt. So, nothing was recorded. It was just notes that I had took. So we're going to kick off with the Zoom call. It started roughly, now I'm Central Time. Um, I'm not sure where you are in the world, but Central Time for me, the conference call, the Zoom meeting started at 8:30. However, we didn't have access to see anybody until 8:45. That's when Judge Reed kicked off with the actual hearing. Um, she went briefly over the rules, as I just mentioned. And then that's when Robert Schwartz was present. This was on Megan Pete's side. And also you had Dan Humphreys. He was present. And then, as y'all know, Milagro Elizabeth Cooper, she was pro se at this time. She does not have legal counsel, but we'll get into that. So the first issue that was arisen by the actual judge was, Milagro, do you have legal representation? And at this time, she did bring up that she's in conversations with a pro se and a pro hac vice. Um, Within the next week or so, well, at the end of this week, going into next week, she should have legal representation. Now, one thing that they brought up, which was Robert Schwartz, he brought up simple fact that, hey, are we going to have any more delays? Is this legal counsel? We want to make sure that we have legal counsel present. We don't want anyone who is not of Florida bar. We don't want any more delays. And so that's when Judge allowed Milagro Elizabeth Cooper to respond. And her representation is of Florida. So once we get the details at the end of this week, going into next week, we should proceed. All right, moving forward, another issue that had arose was Robert Schwartz questioning the prior lawyers on Milagro's side, and that would be Michael Hayden, who is with Unite the People, and then Michael A. Pansier, that withdrew. There were attorney only, attorney eyes only documents that was submitted to them, and they questioned if they or if they had not sent this to Milagro, since she is without legal counsel at this time, and they were hit with no responses. So what they're doing is they're getting with the judge to send out a court order for them to respond to the discovery case. And so that's a document that we will see within the next few days coming from Megan's side. Um, yeah. Another thing that was very interesting was Robert Schwartz mentioning psychiatric counsel when it comes to Megan Pete. So we're now seeing this with a trend. This started, if y'all do not recall, this was submitted when it came to Tasha K. So it looks like Megan Thee Stallion had psychiatric counsel, and he just wanted to make sure that those experts are protected. And so that's why he wanted to make sure that the paperwork remained attorney eyes only. All right. When it comes down to Hayden and also Pensier, uh, they reached out 2 to 3 times with no response. So we will be getting that court order for them to respond. Um, Let's see here. Deposition. If y'all paid attention to my actual account, y'all will see that I had posted court documents yesterday on the 3rd, and it went over basically a few dates that they threw out there for Milagro Elizabeth Cooper to actually do her deposition. So when it came down to today, the judge popped the question, hey, with an attorney or not, you have 30 days to find new representation, and then we'll have to move forward with or without. And we cannot prolong this any longer. So if you do not have legal representation by June the 27th, we will issue an order for you to make sure we get the deposition done. Now, the first date of deposition that they gave her was June the 25th. And then the last day that she can schedule the deposition is on July the 1st. So she did ask the judge, and when I mean by she, I mean Milagro Elizabeth Cooper. She asked the judge, hey, can I wait until I have legal counsel? And the lady told her, no. You had 30 days. We need an answer today. This is what this status conference call is for. We need an answer now. We're not waiting. I need an answer right now. So Milagro Elizabeth Cooper chose July the 1st to do her deposition. And then that's when we also discovered there that Megan's team will fly out here to Houston to conduct her deposition. Now, to give y'all a little insight on depositions, depositions is confidential. Depositions is something that is private. We will not have access to that, but they will be here July the 1st to conduct that. Judge Reed also got with Milagro and let her know if any issues arise and you need to postpone or you need to schedule a new date, we need to know this weeks in advance. This will lead to you having to pay court fees if done so. So let's make sure that we stay on top of the deadline dates because we cannot prolong this case any longer. There were no objection to the extension of the deadlines. If y'all go back to the court documents from yesterday, them prolonging the discovery back about 2 or 3 weeks, there was no objections to that. Now, this was very interesting when it come down to the discovery issues. Robert Schwartz, they want Discord. They want the Discord metadata. They are in fear of spoliation. If you do not know what spoliation means, spoliation is basically just in dumb terms, people would discard or get rid of evidence. Okay. And they are in fear of that. And this is what they do not want happening. So the judge say, hey, y'all need to schedule a separate Zoom call after this call to go over any type of discrepancies that y'all may have, but let's make sure that we stay on track with discovery. So after that call a few hours ago, they did have a separate Zoom call to go over getting that metadata. Now, I will say Milagro Elizabeth Cooper body language went left. She kept rocking back and forth, and she mainly was hesitant on answering that question. But they said they want to get that started today, and the judge made her answer that question. So we will be seeing that come up within the next few days or few weeks. All right, moving forward. She then brought up the simple fact that how can she help them with discovery when two of her social media accounts, and what we mean by social media accounts, we're talking about X, this platform here. She had two accounts terminated due to breaking company guidelines. And what I found very interesting is that Mr. Schwartz then smiled and said, in many words, if your account is suspended, we can still have access to it. So she's trying to utilize that of reason why that she can't hand over metadata. But we learned today it doesn't matter if your case or if your file or anything when it comes down to courts, we can still have access to getting that information. So he did mention that today. So they will be getting that metadata from X when it comes down to her tweets. We then go into an issue regarding case post, because right now she's pro se, she's an esquire at this point until she get legal representation. We went into an issue regarding the case posting social media of her talking about the issues and what's going on in the case. So they briefly spoke about that. They said that Milagro has posted multiple times about Megan. They even went back to 2020 to when she spoke about the criminal case going on. That was the state of California versus Tory Lanez. They brought that up. Then they brought up the simple fact that even present time, she is still talking about Megan Thee Stallion. Then we get into the conversation about the gag order. Are you asking Milagro to discontinue posting about Pete and about this case? Which, as y'all know, Tory Lanez case was criminal, and the judge right now, and this is what I want to clarify, the judge made it very clear today that this is a civil case. She is still coming online, and she's still saying that, oh, my case criminal, my case criminal. The judge made it very clear today. Your case is civil. Now, once they conduct and the jury or whatever comes out at the end of this, when it comes down to the deep fake video, if they want that to go criminal due to the new law that has to do with deep fake AI in Florida, if they wanted to go criminal, then it will go criminal. But as of right now, this is civil. She made that very clear today. He then brushed up on her when it comes down to her social media account. Milagro incited on May the 12th when Tory Lanez was stabbed in prison. She posted about an allegation about it being Megan's team and her managers involved, which is Rock Nation. She brought up that they were the blame of why Tory Lanez got stabbed. Now, we have later found out who actually stabbed them and the reason why, right? But it was the simple fact that here she is in present time defaming Megan again. So this is what Schwartz brought up to the judge. Now, as he's speaking, if y'all would have seen, or whoever was in the actual Zoom meeting with me, you would have saw the judge's face. She was very shocked and surprised by this, by the commentary of him just giving her a sight of who Milagro is. And then the whole time, Milagro, she just kept looking down at the floor. She kept rocking back and forth. Judge was very surprised. And I want to make it very clear here. Attorney Reed she's African American. She's Trinidadian. So we can't play the race card here. And the race card was used earlier, and I'll get into that. But let's get back to the topic at hand. He brought up the fact that she incited on May the 12th that Tory was stabbed in prison, and it was Megan and Megan's manager's involvement that the reason why this happened. And then he brought up the fact that she had got online and she said that she would shoot anyone in the face if they come at her. Now, the judge did allow Milagro to respond. She did brought up, hey, the reason why I said that I would shoot anybody in the face because of the law that we have here in Texas and the fact that I'm getting death threats. Now, do we have proof of her getting death threats? That will be on her to provide or not to provide. That's not our business, but hey, let's just run with it. She did bring up that the reason why she mentioned that. And then what got me was when Schwartz then brought up her ex accounts, and he brought up the fact that this is your second suspension and that you are breaking company guidelines online for spewing defamatory statements about my client. You are inciting violence. And then he also brought up the fact that, if y'all do not recall, a few weeks ago to last month, someone who was real close to her named Noor, he had a deposition. He brought up the fact that she was online inciting and intimidating him. And you should have saw the judge's face on that. Then we get into conversations about, again, the gag order. There needs to be something put out because this here is getting out of hand. Milagro responds, this should work both ways because she had me in her documentary. She had me when it came down to her PowerPoint. And then she went into deflecting. She brought up Megan Cuniff. Well, if you ask me for my opinion, I do think that at this time, this was not a conversation about Megan Cuniff. Why did you bring Megan Cuniff up? This has nothing to do with Megan Cuniff. You went into her merch, googly eyed bitch. You went into, hey, I was talking about her being a drunkie. Now, most people that went in and looked, and you can see court documents. Was she driving drunk or however? Y'all go do the research on your own. But let bygones be bygones. That was brought up today, and to my opinion, that shouldn't have been brought up. This has nothing to do with that. Um, I put down that she was deflecting, which, in thoroughly speaking, yes, she was deflecting. Um, the judge then responds. She told Milagro Elizabeth Cooper what she was doing was highly inappropriate. And you can tell by her face that she was quite shocked and disgusted after hearing Schwartz go into detail about her posts and about her inciting and things of that nature. And for the judge to come out and say what you're doing is inappropriate, that's highly inappropriate. We need to conduct ourselves. That speaks volumes, right? So here we are again. You are not to have press conferences or make media posts when it comes down to Megan Thee Stallion. Also, they brought up the fact that they don't want her speaking on the Tory Lane situation that has to do with Megan Thee Stallion. Okay. Look at what's going on here. She then brought up and tried to deflect. How is it that Anna Paulina, how you say her name, Anna Paulina. How is it that she can come online? How is it that Amber Rose can come online and they can speak about Tory Lanez? And then you have the other ladies, I don't know their name at this time, but they're of Caucasian, descent. How is it that they can come out and actively speak about the case? But then it seems unfair to me. Well, let me tell you the similar, the not the similarities, but so much as far as the difference. They're keeping it on Tory Lanez, whether you agree or you disagree. Everybody has their own opinion. When it comes down to you being a umbrella or free Tory, or when it comes down to Megan Thee Stallion, everybody has their own opinions. But the difference is when it comes down to Anna Paulina, when it comes down to Amber Rose and the other ladies, they're keeping it on Tory Lanez. Hey, did Megan Thee Stallion get shot? They're keeping it on a question. And then they're saying, hey, I physically spoke to Tory Lanez, or hey, I physically spoke to the daddy. They're keeping it on that. They're not making it personal. And that's the difference between them versus Milagro Elizabeth Cooper. We cannot sit up here and we cannot say this seems unfair to me. No, regardless of what's going on in the world, everybody has an entitled to fight for who they want to fight for, but it's the way you go about it. You cannot come online and incite and sit up here and then spew hate and then think that this is protected under First Amendment. It's not. The judge done already came out and said this is not a hypermode. You have stated time and time again that you, Milagro Elizabeth Cooper, you were not a part of the media. You was with the family. You went in with the family. You was the sister. You said this. And what was very interesting to them and what I see is you were present at the court hearing. You saw firsthand Megan Thee Stallion when it came down to her testimony. You looked right at her amongst other people who was there. You saw firsthand her giving her testimony, her being emotional, mental state. You then went out into that hallway, and I can say it here because I can listen and I can read. I can tell when someone's fronting. You went out in that hallway and you went fronting in front of the other content creators and went talking mad shit. You did too much. They've been watching then and they are still watching now. You have hurt yourself. He also brought up the simple fact that you were sued on October the 29th, 2024. And just as of last week, at the end of May, you are still talking about Megan the Stallion. Again, you should have saw the judge's face. So this is what the judge asked of Schwartz, because he spoke mostly. Dan Humphreys, he didn't speak that much, but this judge, this attorney, he spoke more. Uh, they want a written draft about a gag order, and this is when Milagro actually spoke up and was saying, "Hey, I'm a what she say? I'm a content creator. I have interviewed the biggest artists," and then she went in to say how um this is part of her business brand, that she speaks and she does this. But to me, I just felt like that was disingenuous. Who of a big artist have you interviewed? And to me, because I was present, how is it that if someone does not want to do business with you or speak with you, just let it go, move on to the next artist? You become obsessed with them. Right now, you are overly obsessed at this point in time with Cardi B. Why? Whatever she's got going on with Stefan Diggs or whatever, leave that to her. Leave that be. And I understand we all have opinions, right? But it's the way you go about it. And what I found disrespectful during this whole Zoom meeting is she interrupted the judge at least, what, 3 times? And you can tell that she got irritated around the time that they brought up, hey, we need something in writing for her to stop talking about our client. We need something in writing when it comes down to us protecting what's going on in the case, because she is potentially tanking the jury pool. We need something in writing. So the conversations about Megan Thee Stallion stops today. That's when the judge also then said this: life would be peaceful if you would just shut up. Well, in so many words, I'm paraphrasing, but life would be so much peaceful if you were quiet. So, this is what we should expect in the next week or so. I'm going to go over it. So, the judge did ask Schwartz to prepare an order about agreeing of not speaking with Megan Thee Stallion. And the stipulation there that he did bring up that did make sense. We're only speaking of this in defense. We're not out here inciting. We're only responding. And so the judge agreed. She said, hey, that does make sense. So she said, within the next 2 business days, I need for you to draw up a draft. And I need you to also convey this with Milagro Elizabeth Cooper. If y'all agree on it, I want to see this on my desk. If you need any more time to this, I need to be notified right away. So within the next 2 days, maybe Friday or maybe next Monday, we should get down the pipeline a gag order on both sides, for the plaintiff and for the defendant, not to speak on or about said case with what's going on right now with the civil case, and also with what's going on with the Tory Lane situation that has to do with Megan Thee Stallion. There will be a gag order for that. So that's one thing. Okay. Second thing, she wants a draft drawn up for what was presented today, so much as far as their concerns with discovery. She wants that drawn up as well. She didn't say a timeline on that, but she said, hey, I would like those two things drawn up. Another thing that we need to also touch base on that she wants is them to draw up an order for her so that she can submit an order to the prior attorneys of Milagro Elizabeth Cooper when it comes down to Michael Hayden and Michael A. Pensier. She wants that drawn up so that they can be in contempt to answering, because right now they're ignoring everybody. And this was something that Milagro Elizabeth Cooper brought to light. She said, hey, I've been trying to have conversations prior to them withdrawing with my legal counsel, and they have not been answering my calls or emails. So she has brought it up, and that's when the judge agreed on both sides, plaintiff and defendant. Why is Michael Hayden and Michael A. Pensier not responding? So another order will go out for them to respond, because it's 17 documents that is attorney eyes only documents that they need to make sure that it's confidential. Okay. Then they spoke about the psychiatric, which I brought that up earlier. I guess that I'm not sure, but I guess that's wrapped up in what's going on with them documents. Another thing, another document will come out for court of appearance when it comes to Milagro Elizabeth Cooper counsel. That's if she gets that counsel at the end of this week, going into next week. We will get that document as well. So we got about 4 or 5 documents that I will give y'all an update on as soon as that comes in. Also, another thing, at this time, everybody has opinions. But this is what I would say. You can have an opinion, that's one thing, but actually going out and tagging folks, that's considered harassment. So at this time, no one, please don't go on either side. Hey, if you're with the plaintiff or if you're with the defendant, it's okay to have an opinion. It's okay to have your First Amendment right, but it's a way of going about it. Don't come out and tag and incite. That's considered harassment. That's all the notes that I have for today. Again, as soon as we get any details leading on into the events that I just mentioned, I will post that. Um, I'm going to take a look and see if there's any updates as of right now. But so much as far as now, on both sides, they have come to an agreement or will come to an agreement on a gag order. So we'll see that come within the end of this week going into next week. And my thing is, this shouldn't have happened. We shouldn't have to have went to court to get this. Everybody knows once you're in a lawsuit, shut the fuck up. Stop talking. Don't talk about the client. Don't talk about the defendant. Don't talk about the fuck up. It shouldn't have to have come to this. Also, when it comes down to court was supposed to have been September the 8th. 2-week trial. It got moved due to the 60-day continuance to November the 17th. So this court trial will be going on before Thanksgiving and ending after Thanksgiving. And this will be at the Miami-Dade, Florida courthouse. And whoever has access to that, more power to you. As of right now, I do not have access to it. Oh, there's a court update. So, okay, live, y'all, live. There has been a court update, status conference, paperless, minute order for proceedings held before Magistrate Judge Lizette M. Reed. Status conference held on 6/4/2025. Order to follow. Total time in court 55 minutes. Attorney appearances: Mary Daniel, Robert, other appearances, Milagro, Elizabeth Cooper, digital, and it shows 9/34/51, read '01, and then it shows the date. So that's the latest court update for today. Again, give it till about the end of the week. To next week, there will be another court update, and I will keep y'all posted on that. And then until the meantime, I do be on station head. But this is what I will say. I always say this: when you lead with integrity, you never ever have to worry about somebody questioning your loyalty or your intentions. Okay. I hope y'all have a good day. I hope y'all have a great day. Wherever you are in the world, it's beautiful today. Whether it's raining, whether the sun is out, whether it's cloudy, I want y'all to enjoy yourselves. I want y'all to touch grass. I want y'all to get yourself something good to eat. It's about to be the summer, right? So I want y'all to have a good, great time. Enjoy your loved ones, enjoy your friends, and just live life. It's not that deep, it's not that serious, right? There's a lot of things going on in the world right now with Donald Trump and these tariffs. We have a lot of things to worry about. Take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. Mental health right now is a big thing. Okay. So, with that being said, I know I probably missed a few things, but I just wanted to come on here and give y'all insight on that. And um, a lot of times we have opinions, but sometimes you got to know how to go about it. Do not get yourself in a lawsuit. Okay. With that being said, I'll holler at y'all later. Again, any other updates? With any other, I know I got to go get a court document, a few court documents from a few other cases. I'll catch up on that when I can. But in the meantime, between time, I hope y'all enjoy yourself and y'all have a great day. All right, bye bye.
Someone once told me the grass is much greener